and visit Kajiado County tomorrow in a bid to popularize. We are not taking a break.
There's no break.
The only reason I'm here, you know, Senator Halwale and Senator Wamatangi, in fact, so they told me to convey their apology.
Yes.
We're having a PAC retreat, Public Accounts Committee of the Senate retreat, to finalize the reports of the council.
And that's why they're not here today?
Including, I came back, not because Kalonzo has a break, but because we have a NEC meeting of the WIPA, National Executive Council.
Also, you're holding the NEC today, here in Nairobi?
Here in Nairobi.
Okay.
So.
And we'll be discussing issues about WIPA Party, because we do understand that, and in one of the headlines, actually says, WIPA House on Fire. And we'll be discussing that in a while. The other headlines, the big headlines here, of course, Uhuru wants code over Paul Kills talk. President sends arrest warning to leaders inciting voters to violence. That's on the Daily Nation. On the Standard, if I could share the Daily with Bwana Chris Omalwa, the Standard. Uhuru warns Raila. Same headline on both dailies. President directly accuses Odinga of intention to start political chaos during elections. Now, before we even go to these other headlines, there's something that is very disturbing, and as a journalist we have to mention this. Yesterday, 3 of my colleagues, not working for Royal Media but working for a different media house, were injured while doing their work here in Nairobi by goons. They have been assigned to cover an event where Nairobi Governor Evans Kidero was attending. Now, this story is on page 6 of the Standard. If I could just quickly go through that before we even embark on our news review. 3 journalists were yesterday stoned by a group of rowdy youth during Governor Evans Kidero's tour of Nairobi's Dandora area. Sarah Ndongo from the People Daily, Patrick Kimanthi, K24 cameraman, and Charles Mathai, People Daily photographer, as well as their driver, were injured and had to be rushed to hospital. Now, there's only one way. It's not even. I'll just give you a chance to condemn that act, because I don't think there's any other opinion to be offered on this matter.
Yes, I take this opportunity to condemn that act. I do also call upon Mr. Kidero to give an explanation of what happened. From where I sit, I find him culpable. I do find supporters of ODM party culpable to that incident. They are not to be very intolerant to divergent opinion. I would imagine why they were attacking those journalists most likely is because it is said that media house has some association with the Jubilee party. So therefore, I would urge the registrar of political parties to take action against ODM, because I'm aware they were chanting ODM support the slogans. And it shows that indeed there is a plan on the part of ODM to wreak havoc these elections.
Well, Bwana Hassan Omar, do you agree with Bonerum Kangata's
politics society?
Yes.
Yeah.
And assaults on journalism? I see them subject of victimization sometimes in war fronts. ISIS has executed journalists. Journalists have been executed in Somalia. Journalists have been jailed across the world. And I think what happens is we must send a very firm message that we must protect the institution of media, because the cornerstone of a democratic society is an independent media. So for whatever reasons, I hope there is a way we can follow through and get the perpetrators so that they can be charged in a court of law. We need to bring down political hooliganism for whatever it takes. I think what happens is Kenya has this perception that where we've dealt with political violence, there's a difference between political violence and political hooliganism. There's a way in which we feel political hooliganism or hooliganism in politics is legitimate. And therefore, I think if it was for purposes of politics, then it needs to be punished for no matter who the perpetrators are.
Yes. Bwana Wanyonka.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that to some extent, as Kenyans, we need to grow up. I think it's reached a point where we slowly are turning our country into a den of people that I don't know how I can explain how we have become. The truth is, we need to be tolerant, we need to accept each other, we need to accept divergent views so that our country can move forward. I think it is unacceptable to allow anybody to organize goons. I've been a victim of such goonry, just because of political reasons. And I think for anybody to imagine or even plan on how to harass journalists or even injure them is completely unacceptable.
Okay.
First and foremost, I want to condemn this incident, and I want to tell the Kenyans that the media plays a very critical role in line with Article 3.5 of the Constitution, which talks about access to information. Without the media, we wouldn't be knowing what's going on. And that's why they are called the fourth estate, you know. So really the public must be aware that without the media, will not be knowing what is going on. And those particular people who happen to have done this ugly incident, I think the law must take its course. But I want to disagree with my friend Honorable Kangata. You know, don't be egocentric, because when you read that, it is clearly said that this youth demanded money. And when the governor is moving around in his area of jurisdiction, he meets everybody, whether you are Jubilee, whether you are Wiper, whether you are whatever it is. You know, you are not grouped that this is ODM people who have condemned this. So for honorable member to come calling upon the register of political parties to do this, that is not the responsibility of the register of political parties. If someone is a criminal, he's a criminal. And from the what the media people have said here is they thought that was Governor Kidero's group, because they demanded money. So you can see here, it is an issue of maybe because of unemployment that we have in this area or anywhere in the country, the youth don't have employment, and maybe they are seeing this as an opportunity to get something. So and you can't come and condemn and say that it's a political party. No, that's
and it must be said that whatever the source, however that issue started, an attack on journalists is not acceptable. What we do, and I speak for all journalists, and allow me to preach for a moment, what we do is simply offer a service. Yes, across the political divide, whether it's the opposition or the government, we're simply doing our job. An attack on journalists is simply not acceptable.
Can I say something though?
But you see,
let me say something that is a generalized statement. First one towards my brother Onyonk has talked about. Nobody was born more man or more woman than another. This perception that some people enjoy an advantage over others when it comes to ukora uhuni it will run this country berserk.
Yes.
I know and I'm aware that some of us in the political arena take time to invest in hooliganism or political, not political violence, but political hooliganism, because violence presupposes tribe against tribe, butchering one another, like the PV, post-election violence we had of 2007. It paints the government as a banana republic when there is an architecture or a structure of violence by a political aspirant or a politician, and that government appears unable to move against that structure. I mean, I hear this all the time. Lately in Mombasa, the chorus is growing. That nobody was born less man, less woman. What that means is, you come to attack our meeting, you try to attack us, we'll fight back. So it is the duty of the government. There is what is called the DTP, the duty to protect. The state needs to be neutral and ensure that if it is Jubilee against Jubilee, it must be stopped. If it is CORD against CORD, it must be stopped. If it is CORD against Jubilee, it must be stopped. The political arena must reign with sanity.
Okay. Yes. Bwana Kangata, there's something you wanted to add?
Yes, you see, first and foremost, this was a meeting that was convened by Governor Kidero. Governor Kidero is a member of ODM. And when you have chaos occurring in your meeting, you take responsibility. So to me, we must assign responsibility. Unless you just want to condemn here, you talk, this becomes a talk show. No, we must act. The person who should take responsibility is Governor
Mheshimiwa Kangata, if I ask you right now, can you tell me who actually was violating the rights of those journalists? Who is it?
Goons?
No. Do you have names of people who were actually beating up the journalists?
Anyway.
No, so as a legislator, I don't expect you to come here and start pinpointing Kidero's name. No. You can't do that. Let us be reasonable. Let us accept that we totally reject goonery.
No,
look here. But stop pointing names at individuals. We don't have the evidence. We don't have the evidence.
One point. some few days ago, I think one day, I saw a TV airing a clip of a certain ODM politician in the coast celebrating the booing and the chaos which was planned during the DP's tour in Western region and some parts of Rift Valley. They were saying, oh, look, this is evidence that this party does not enjoy support in this region. So, to me, from what I saw that clip, these politicians were celebrating violence. They were celebrating chaos. So to me, this is just an extension. They are no longer making chaos upon politicians. They are now directing to media. So therefore, we must condemn that party.
Irungu, let me tell you, Irungu, just tell Irungu this. Irungu, you can't constantly think like a Jubilee stalwart. You sometimes have to think like a Kenyan.
Yeah.
Yeah? And the statements we've all made here reflects that we deplore above violence wherever, whoever does it.
Completely.
Whether it is Jubilee, whether it is CORD, whether it is ODM. Yes.